I'm Steven.
And I'm Kevin.
In today's episode of the Steven and Kevin Show,
we're going to talk about leaving voicemails. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 74 of the Steven and Kevin Show. And today we're going to be talking about leaving voicemails. We get the question often when we're out speaking or during webinars where advisors will say, well, should I leave a voicemail? And if I do, what do I say?
Yeah, and oftentimes when people are asking that question, it's around their cold calling. And that's not really what we're talking about here today. Maybe some warm calling, but more of just general voicemail etiquette that might sound petty. It might sound like this is something that you should learn. This is so basic. But it makes a big difference in terms of the number of calls you get back and whether or not generally you frustrate the other people in your life, right? So
that's true.
Voicemails, and you might wonder, how do you have two millennials who are here talking about voicemails? Because you know you can look at us and tell that we don't like voicemail. And there's some truth to that. Mm-hmm. But by being someone who is a voicemail skeptic, a voicemail, a voicemail hater, if you will, maybe we're the best people to give advice on voicemails.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, in advance of our call today, we both pulled out our phones and we listened to the last 5 voicemails that we had, right? And, I have one. Most of them are from either my parents, or a salesperson. And I was thinking about that too. My parents always leave voicemails. It got to the point where my voicemail was like full, so people couldn't leave voicemails anymore.
Yeah. Mine were
older people.
Here were mine in order, Kevin. Mine was number 1, Matt Oxley with a butt dial. Number 2,
with a butt dial.
With a butt dial. Number 2, a prospect call, somebody prospecting me. Number 3, my neighbor, a legitimate voicemail. Number 4, a prospect of mine calling me back. Number 5, another sales call. And I think that's one of the reasons why you get frustrated with voicemails is that you're looking at the calls and you're saying if half of these more or less are ones that are totally unnecessary or junk, you don't get real excited when you see the flag go up that you've got a voicemail.
Can you play one of those?
I'll play the one that I thought was kind of funny. This is from someone prospecting me. We'll see if we can dissect this one a little bit.
Hi, good morning, Steven. This is Jordan with Easy Post, the Easy Logistics Shipping. Hi, good morning, Steven. This is Jordan with Easy Post, the Easy Logistics Shipping and Fulfillment Company. I was on your website, and I was just about ready to buy a couple of these books and check out, but I do notice that your shipping rates are pretty expensive. Reach out to me and find out how we can generally save you about 25 to 35% on your shipping and fulfillment needs. If you'd like to find out how or just more information, give me a call back at 415-231-6009.
So everybody call that guy. No, but interestingly enough, and I don't know how well that came through the mic, so we'll have to see. We might have to use the audio a different way. But he opens up with the name of his company and a tagline. Did you notice that?
And a blatant lie, by the way.
And
I thought I'll give him an A for effort, but he did lie to me. The guy's not buying one of our books. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, he's a logistics company. He's not going in and...
He calls everybody with that same script that says, hey, I was about to buy one of your books, but then I saw shipping. It's like, no, well, we only write for financial advisors, so why were you on our site and looking at books?
Exactly.
Anyway, but yeah, when you look through some of that, it gives you a perspective of like, hey, there's a right and wrong way to do it. When I looked through mine and I thought of what are some of the good messages versus bad, the good ones, if there are any, were things like my neighbor who called about my son being in his house and he's going to come home shortly, right? One of those things. The bad ones were ones where I was looking through some that were legitimate voicemails. I had a 2-minute and 10-second voicemail from a commercial mortgage person who left. I was looking at the transcript. A lot of details. We're in the middle of an office move. A lot of details about rates and terms and all this stuff. And I'm looking through two minutes and change worth of a voicemail. That's not a good voicemail.
And if you know Steven's personality, he doesn't want all that detail.
I can guarantee I didn't listen to that whole thing. Yeah. There's no way.
So anyway, we're going to walk you through 5 tips today on leaving voicemails. We're going to start with what you probably would say is the most important voicemail that you would leave, and this is leaving a voicemail for a prospect. So let's say you get a Facebook lead form, right? Or you get someone on LinkedIn who says, yes, give me a call, right? Or you get something, or maybe it is a cold call, or whatever it might be, but this is a prospect scenario. How do you go about leaving them a voicemail that hopefully increases the likelihood of them calling you back?
Yeah, I like it. So for example, this guy that we played, if he had left off just with the beginning, hey, this is such and such, and I was on your site and I was looking around, and he didn't reference his company name or any of that stuff, and he just says, hey, give me a call back when you get a chance. I had some questions for you. I would have called him back. I would have had to.
You would have called him back.
I would have been annoyed by it, but I would have called him back.
So what we say is, like, when you're calling a prospect, leave some intrigue. Don't give them so much information that they can make the decision to call you back or not. Right? If it's the right move or not.
Yeah. So, for example, if it's the mortgage guy and he's leaving terms and rates and stuff, what if I listen to that and I think, well, that's not a very good deal. Why? I'm not going to call him back. Whereas if I got him on the line, he would have had a chance to explain and perhaps convince us to move forward.
Exactly. So leave some intrigue when you're calling a prospect. Don't give them too much information.
Number 2, if you're calling an accountant, give some detail.
Right. Steven's not an accountant, but he just got a ton of detail in that voicemail.
Yeah, but let's say, for example, if you're talking to your COIs and you want to leave a good voicemail, if they're a very detailed person by nature, like many accountants are, don't leave them messages like, hey, Steven here, call me back. They're like, well, at what time should I call you back, and at what number, and what is the nature of this call?
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, if you look at a DISC profile, right, and most of you are familiar with DISC, accountants typically, if that's probably one of the main COIs we're talking about, typically are C personality, meaning that they like a lot of detail. Mm-hmm. So you should give them what they want in that voicemail.
Yeah, absolutely. Stephen Boswell here. I've got a client who I think might need your services. Here's her situation. Here's my number. Here's when I'll be following up. I want to give all that.
Yeah, and they'll actually like that, and they're probably more likely to respond to you. Number 3. I like this one. This is one that if you're in doubt, whether you're talking to maybe it's a prospect, maybe it's a client, maybe it's just a family member, but try and match the style of the person's prompt. Meaning that if I call up Steven and he says, hey, it's Steven, leave me a message, click.
Does that sound like that?
I don't know if you sound like that or
Probably.
not. I don't know if I've ever left you a voicemail. But if I get that, then I don't go on and drone on and on for 2 or 3 minutes on the voicemail. I say, hey, Steven, Kevin, give me a call back when you have a second. I want to talk about a few things, right?
Yeah, exactly. On the flip side, if it's someone who says, please leave me a detailed message stating the reason for your call, then give them the detail.
No. Here's how it starts. Today is March 23rd, and I am out of the office. It's like, man, they recorded that morning. You know those.
Oh yeah.
That's how you know you have a really detailed person on the hook. So, and frankly, that training came. That comes out of a lot of DISC personality training, where you're trying to match and model people's personalities, right? And you can tell a lot just by the type of voicemail prompt that someone has.
Right. Number 4, in terms of tips, don't leave voicemails for people who don't do voicemails. And you might say, well, how do I know that? Well, let's say, for example, you call me and you leave me a message and I call you right back, because that's what I would do if you called my cell phone. I might not listen to the message. I would just call you back. And I would tell you, I didn't check the message. Next time, don't leave me a message. That's the way I operate. I'm just going to, the fact that you called and I missed that call means I need to call you back. I get that.
Yeah, try text messaging, right? If
Absolutely.
That's maybe what you prefer. Again, I think that's a really good point. So if you know that that's not your preference over time, don't leave you voicemails. It's almost a hassle.
Yeah. So when you think about how do I arrive at that, number 1, if through their actions they show you they don't check your voicemails, don't leave them voicemails anymore. 2, open up a dialogue around communication and what they prefer. So right when you take on a new client, for example, or right when you start working with a new prospective client, you might throw in a question like, hey, when I go to reach out to you, are you more of a text person or email? Just get the dialogue going about how they want to be communicated with.
I like it. Number 5. This is our final tip, and this actually tip was broken by the sales call that you had, and that says when you're doing prospecting, don't start with your company name. Right, the gentleman who left you a voicemail, not only did he start with his company name, this is so-and-so from XYZ Logistics, where logistics is easy and blah, blah, blah. He gave you a tagline, right? And that just reeks and reeks of sales. And, immediately you're turned off.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm kind of blown away that he gave you a tagline.
So, yeah, don't do taglines. You do. Think about this. Some other quick tips here. Keep them short, right? 30 seconds or less makes for a good voicemail. Leave your email. If you think there might be an email person, say, hey, Kevin, call me back, or if it's something you can answer by email, my email address is X and Y.
That's good. What are these, bonus tips over here?
Hey, these are just a little something.
Yeah, I'm trying to eye some of your tips here.
But no, I think it's just being mindful before you make the call, what the purpose of the call is, what voicemail you might leave and thinking about that all before you pick up the phone. I know for me sometimes I'll pick up the phone and I get to the voicemail.
And you're like, oh, wait, should I leave one? Oh, yeah.
You know, and what do I say? And then you stumble through it and it's like, oh, that didn't go very well. How do you delete this?
Good point. So plan out, especially when you're making prospect calls, right? If you're making prospect calls, plan out what the voicemail is going to be because there's a good chance you're going to give voicemail.
Yeah, and I'm a person who doesn't mind leaving voicemails if it's somebody who wants a voicemail, and I just don't like getting them.
Yeah.
Is that odd? But that's just the way it works.
Yeah.
Anyway, hey, if you haven't checked it out already, the Learning Center, brand new content. It is really cool, all built around a benchmarking assessment to help compare your business versus all the others in the industry, especially the top performers.
Yeah.
The courses in there are really robust and practical. You can get in there and learn about client events, LinkedIn, how to keep metrics on your business. There's such a wide variety of courses. It'll fit for anybody. It's only $99 a month. So if you haven't yet, take a tour of it. You'll love it.